Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Chiante Jones, and I'm the founder and financial coach behind Dollars and Change. Um, Today, I wanted to come on and talk about how I was able to create financial flexibility in my life and my journey to get here. So, if I hope everyone is doing well, staying healthy. If you're here, say hello, drop me a comment, let me know that you're here. Okay. So I found that financial flexibility is very important, especially in times like now with the coronavirus. There are people who have lost their income or who are facing financial hardship, but then there are also others who, are able to live off their savings or even take advantage of the downturn in the stock market right now. So that's why I wanted to come on and just share my story about how I was able to create financial flexibility in my own life, so that I don't have to constantly be worried about money and stressed about money. So I've been what I like to call consumer debt free for since 2017. So the only debt that I currently have is a mortgage. I've been able to build up a healthy savings account, to have a fully funded emergency fund, and have other savings for periodic expenses like car maintenance or house maintenance or even traveling. In addition, I'm able to max out my retirement accounts, both at my job, so my 401k, and then also with a personal IRA. And then on top of that, being able to contribute to an investment account that I've started now. So a lot of the reason I've been able to do all these things is because my monthly expenses are only about half of my take-home pay, and so that leaves a lot of room to be able to save and do a lot of other things with. It gives you a lot of options. And so now this did not happen overnight. It takes some time to be able to create that level of financial flexibility. So it took me, you know, making certain decisions and creating certain habits to, build that over time to create the level of financial flexibility that I currently have. So I've tried to be, always tried to be a good steward over my money. Hi, Janae. I've always tried to be a good steward of my money. Even when I was younger, like a teenager, I tried to be good at managing whatever money I did have. And part of the reason for that was that I grew up with a single mother. So part of it, I didn't want to be a burden to her. But so whenever I did need money from her, a lot of times I would have it all calculated out of exactly what I needed and exactly I knew exactly what I was going to use it for. But I also just had a desire to be independent and self-sufficient. I wanted to be able to take care of myself the best I could. And even then, I knew I wanted to live comfortably, and I didn't want to struggle or worry about money. So while money isn't everything, um, it was important for me to have flexibility and options so I could do different things. And I knew to be able to do that, it typically requires financial resources. So and the other thing was, even though I didn't know exactly what I may have wanted to do or what I was saving for at particular times, I knew it was smart to position myself as best I could to be prepared for whenever it came along. I would be ready, whatever that thing may have been. And I wasn't opposed to debt, and I'm still not necessarily opposed to debt, even now, depending on what the situation is. But I was always careful about debt because I knew it would limit my options and take away some of that flexibility. So I would say one of the main things that helped me to have a plan to pay off to pay off my debt was to minimize the amount of debt that I got into in the first place. So anytime I was taking on debt, I would have a plan of how I was going to get it paid off. So whether it was student loans or a loan, for, a credit card for furniture or even a car note or whatever it was, I always thought about, well, how much is this going to cost me every month, and then how long will it take me to get rid of it? Which brings me to another thing that helped me to pay off my debt, which was living within my means. So, and that was whatever those means were at the time. So I was never concerned with necessarily like keeping up with the Joneses. And little did I know that one day I would actually become the Joneses. So, but I was never, worried about keeping up with them. So even when I did take on debt, I made sure that it was something that I could afford. And that was based on what I was comfortable with, not necessarily what I was approved for. And then living within my means, even when taking on debt, meant that I still had, some money I was still able to save. which then gave me a third way to end up paying off my debt. Was over time I was able to build up my savings, which eventually meant that I didn't necessarily need to borrow to do certain things. I was able to cash flow a lot of things that I wanted to do, and even if I did need to borrow, I didn't have to borrow as much. So I might have saved up enough money to put like a large down payment at the up front, which means I finance less and could be get it paid off a lot quicker. So I wasn't necessarily like a guru at personal finance, but managing money came natural for me. I um, I just did what made sense to me, and I didn't think much about it at the time. It was just what I did. But as I got older, I realized that it didn't come as easy for a lot of other people, and in fact, a lot of other people were really stressed about their money and were really struggling with it. And I also realized that it didn't necessarily get better as they made more money. And so I knew there were people who were making really good money, high earners, but they were still essentially living paycheck to paycheck because they didn't really know how to manage it. And I also observed that a lot of the marketing around financial help was typically at two ends of the spectrum. It was either helping somebody who was, in financial chaos, barely able to pay their rent every month, or trying to keep a roof over their head, or it was somebody who had a stack of money sitting, ready to invest. But well, what about the people who are in the middle? What about the high earning professional who is making really good money, but they still are just trying to get their finances in order and create a solid foundation. And so that was why I wanted to become a financial coach, was to and started Dollars and Change, my company, was to serve that group. I wanted to help this underserved group, particularly women, who have worked to make, work really hard, excuse me, to make really good money, but still need help with their day-to-day money management and things like debt elimination, or building a savings, or just budgeting. And so I mean, I have a background in finance and a degree in finance, but coming out of school I never wanted to be a financial planner or financial advisor, or even an investment banker. I was more interested in the basics of personal finance, the foundations of good money management, and that's really what I was naturally good at. So when I heard of financial coaching, I immediately it immediately resonated with me, and I knew that that was what I was supposed to be doing. Um, and so it was like I finally realized I could take this, second nature skill, this gift, and help others create the same financial flexibility that I had been able to create for myself. So that is my journey in a nutshell, and thank you for listening. Please share this with someone who you think could benefit from it. I know a lot of people do not know that there are financial coaches out here, and this type of help is available. So if you know somebody in mind that could benefit from even being aware that there's a financial coach, and that this type of help is out there, let them know. Also, if you haven't already, please follow my page. I'll be doing some more videos on different topics. So if you follow my page, then you'll get notified when I'm going to be doing those. But thank you, and I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you next time.